Dominion I, hello. There he is.
How you doing?
I am doing amazing. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm good. I'm still trying to work out this whole Instagram live thing. So it took me a little bit of kind of like, where is it? But I found you.
See, welcome. And see, I got you in there. Instagram Live. I'm saying hello to everyone. Hi, everybody that's tuning in. Oh, my goodness. You see, I go crazy with the promotion. I'm like crazy on social media when it comes to these things. I will send it to like 1,000 people. And then I'm like posting it all day long on LinkedIn and on Twitter. And here we are. So choose your path. I came up with this conversations because I felt like all of my events was canceled. Everything was canceled pretty much. And this was an opportunity where I can like have really cool live conversations with friends, right? Yep. That was the idea. But I don't know. It took a life of its own, and here we are. I did ask a higher being though. I asked that he send me people that I can have real live conversations with. Someone who they're okay with being transparent. They're okay with being themselves so that we can bring authentic conversations. Not so much an interview, because I could be a little chatty and tell you about me, right? But like really have real live conversations, because that's how me and my grandmother used to connect. We would get like a cup of coffee and we'd be at the table and we'll be collaborating, and we'll just laugh and just have a conversation. And I still live off of that wisdom today, right now to this day. So I know how important it is to have these conversations. And I want to say thank you so much, Steve, for like taking an hour out of your time to spend it with me and my supporters and the audience, and as well as yours too, because I see your name came down the timeline there. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh, this is going to be a great hour. We're going to talk about all kinds of stuff, right? Because that's what you do in conversation. As long as you can flow with my ADHD, we'll be all set, okay?
I'm there. I should be fine.
Okay, so I'll take you into my world a little bit, and I'm sure you have a little bit of a scientific mind, because I think you know, who is it? Give me a name in space. SpaceX. Elon Musk. Yes. Yeah. So you got to have some sort of understanding of how the scientific mind works, correct?
A little bit. I like to surround myself with people smarter than me. So,
right, me too.
Don't give me too much credit.
Right, but when you have empathy, which I'm sure that you have, I mean, you run a luxury concierge business. When you're doing a business like that, I would think that you got to have some sort of empathy for people, because you got to come from a level of understanding of what it means to them, what's important to them, right?
Yep, I would take that. Yep, correct.
All right, cool. So I'll take you into my world a little bit. I was once a little girl from Cleveland, Ohio, in the States, here in the United States. And I grew up with my grandmother. My mom was addicted to drugs, and for whatever reason, she couldn't take care of me. So my grandmother raised me. My father was there, but I found that out later on. So I didn't have the typical mother and father setting, so to speak. So here we are years later, and I'm a grown woman. I have surpassed and survived domestic violence. I've survived being a single parent. I've survived many setbacks and fall downs and all of that stuff, right? And I am just amazed when I look at a little bit of your story. I'm sure you're going to share a little bit more with me, that you went from being a bricklayer to building this massive, known as the Real Wizard of Oz by Entrepreneur and Forbes and all these amazing places. You spoke at the Pentagon and at Harvard. And how does that happen? Tell me a little bit about you.
Well, I'm not a single mother, so you've got me beat on that one.
Okay, I'll take it.
But the funny thing is, while there's a lot of differences, me and you, we're very different, okay? Mm-hmm. Right. Very different. And it's pretty obvious, even just from accent, location, sex, hair. You have some, I don't. There's a ton of differences.
A ton of it, exactly.
Yeah. But there's one deep vein, one deep strand of DNA that connects me and you. and that is that we're an entrepreneur, and therefore we spend most of our life aggravated looking for something better. And it doesn't matter who you talk to. Every entrepreneur, not wantrepreneur, an entrepreneur, a real life, got screwed up, fell over, been laughed at, been ridiculed, been sued, gone broke, all of the fun stuff that comes with being an entrepreneur. All of us share the same thing. So as I grew up, I came from I'll reframe this later on, but I came up growing up in a poor family in East London. It wasn't a nice neighborhood. There were people that you had to be careful of. There were people that you didn't mention their name. There were people you didn't front or, get involved with. Yeah. It was that kind of environment. My dad, we were an Irish family from East London. My dad owned a construction firm, and a very small little firm. And from the age of, 11, since I had some shoulders, I was on the building site every holiday. Christmas, Easter, I was always on the building site. So when I left school at the age of 15, not even knowing a college existed, but when I came out of school at the age of 15, my dad just said, right, you're on a building site, come on. And that was it. So I thought this was my life. But again, that DNA kicks in and you start going, is this it? Should I settle? And I would speak to my cousins who were also on the building site, and they'd be like, this is your life, get used to it. And that kind of upset. We've all got those people around us, but we're the ones that stand out. We're the ones from Hogwarts. We're the weird kids. We're the ones that go, it can't be everything. There's got to be something else out there. So I went on what I like to think of as my journey of failure. And I tried. Now, I'm a big, ugly lad. I got tattoos, earrings. I got about 20 motorcycles in here. I'm always on a bike. I'm not the kind of guy, especially when I was young in East London, that you would personally want to invite for a coffee if you saw me walking down the street on a dark night. And I'm probably not now, but I just wanted there to be something else. So I went from door-to-door Bible sales. I went from insurance. I went from cake sales. I tried so many different jobs that didn't work, but they taught me what didn't work. So all of those things are like you mentioned it, the addiction, your father, your family, your gran, all of those things gave you an education and gave you a spirit and added to your toolbox of resilience. And I just failed and failed and failed. And I said to you at the beginning, my life was poor, okay? I suddenly noticed something as I was getting into my 20s, and I was getting very aggravated. And for a big lump of a lad to be this aggravated wasn't smart. My mum just thought I was going to end up in prison because I was constantly feeling annoyed and angry because I didn't fit. And I suddenly realized, and I don't know what made me realize it, but I wasn't poor. We were just financially challenged. You see, my mum always tucked me into my bed. My dad always told me he loved me. There was never a day that I was hungry. There was never a day that I doubted that if I flicked the switch, the lights would come on. So really, my life wasn't poor. It was just financially restrictive. It did teach me hard work, grit, go for what you want. Don't be embarrassed with failure. Don't care what anyone else thinks. It taught me all of those things. So in fairness, I had a really wealthy upbringing. So then it came down to one day, I realized, and this is a cliche upon all cliches, you are the combination of the 5 people you hang around with.
That's true.
I remember being in a pub in London. We'd all turned up on motorbikes. And I'm looking around at my boys and I'm thinking, you're all broke-ass bikers. So purely by being one of the 5, that's what I am. So I thought to myself, I've got to find rich people. So I started to just talk to people with money. Anyone that I thought had money, I would just talk to them.
That is so funny.
Yeah, and it just grew from there. I thought to myself, if I can get 5 friends that are rich, I'll be rich. Because rich people, like it or not, they talk differently. The accent doesn't matter, but they talk differently. They talk with purpose. Yes. They strategize. So bottom line of it is, people that have made money, not necessarily been given money, but made money.
Right.
They're different.
No, it's different.
Yeah, I wanted to get to know them. And the funny thing is, I tried to get to know them in different ways. It didn't work until one day I was the doorman of a nightclub and they had to talk to me to get into the club. So now I had the keys to the door. They had to talk to me. So I started bonding. And yes, I run the world's leading experiential concierge firm. And we've done some amazing things with Elon Musk, the Pope, Elton John, that we'll probably go into. But it all started from really just wanting to be able to talk to a rich person. That's all I wanted to do.
That is so interesting, because that's exactly how I felt. I said my grandmother always made sure that I ate. I had a roof over my head. I never had to sleep outside. I had everything that I needed. So whatever more I wanted to get, I had to work hard to get towards it. It wasn't going to be given to me, pretty much. So that's pretty interesting. I love the fact that we're having this conversation. I love the fact that I got to share who I am a little bit, right? Because it shows people that no matter where you start or what that looks like, it doesn't always have to be. Like, if you never changed your mind right now, right here at this moment, you could be probably, what time is it where you're at?
Oh, well, I'm actually in Los Angeles at the moment, so it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay, so what time? It's like 3 o'clock. Okay, so maybe in a couple hours you'll be getting off of work from laying bricks and probably getting ready to lay it down, right?
Let me give you my story. Let me give you my story, because we've all got moments in our life that pivot and create us to go in different directions. I was on a building site, and I was about 16 and a half years old, and I was climbing up the ladder with a big pile of bricks on my shoulder to deliver them to the bricklayers. And I get to the top of the scaffolding, and next to me, as I stepped off the ladder, and I've got my hand up like this, is my dad. Now, next to him is my uncle. Next to him, my 2 cousins in their late teens and middle 20s. And then next to them, my granddad in his 80s. Now, I got off the ladder, and I looked down, and I suddenly saw my entire family history. I saw my entire lifeline all the way up to my granddad. And so my dad yelled at me to put the bricks down, and I did. And it got to tea break time, and we were all sitting in a caravan trying to get warm from the rainy London days. And I went up to my granddad, and I said to my granddad, "Hey, I've got to ask you this." And it's a horrible question, and I'm surprised I didn't get a punch for this. But I said to him, "Well, did you ever think you'd be doing this when you were 80? And he didn't even answer. He just kind of like kept blowing into his tea. And then he said to me, "If you don't quit today, you'll be me tomorrow." And I was like, whoa. And so I literally came out of the hut, and I said to my dad, "I've got to quit." And he said, "What are you going to do?" And I said, "I don't know, but I know it can't be this." And he was like, "All right, you quit Friday." So we get those pivotal moments. But as you've just said, and as you've just granted permission to everyone listening, the pair of us, and I mean this with respect, we had every reason and excuse to be working in a burger bar or, mopping up toilets. We had every reason to be those. And no one would think any different of us because of our background. They would go, "Well, what did you expect?" But now on this Instagram Live, you have 2 people that turned around and said, "That's not how it's going to be."
That is so interesting that you put yourself in rooms with rich people, because I stay in the room with rich people. I make sure that even they used to have like in the Yale community, I stay in the Yale community, but they have these events at the college, and people that's worth hundreds of millions of dollars, they're in this room and they're having conversation. And they asked, one of the guys asked the question, and it was very interesting. He asked, "Who are you?" Right? "Who are you?" And every person that was getting up and saying who they were, one lady said she was a banker, and the other one says, "I'm in investments and I own, whatever. And he says, "Can somebody please tell me who they are?" Somehow we connect who we are, with what we do. What is
Yep.
what is that?
Yep.
What is that about? Like, I do what I do very well, and I do several things very well. But when I look at who I am, and when I look at the mirror and it reflects back at me, and I'm looking back at it, I'm saying to myself, who am I? And it has nothing to do with what I do whatsoever. You just do whatever you do well, right? You take that thing, you continue to multiply it and continue to invest in that thing. And then before you know it, you're looking at something totally different that you never thought you would see. When I was on live television with Dr. Oz and Bishop T.D. Jakes, I said, wow, the car picks me up, it takes me to the TV show, I have the makeup, the whole experience. And that's what I think is so dope about what you do, is that you get to live a life of helping people create experiences, no matter how lavish and wild it may be. Could you share some of that?
Oh, truth, yeah. So I've sent people into space. I've sent people down to the Titanic. I've sent them to everything from the Grammys, Kentucky Derby, the Oscars. I've worked with Sir Elton John for 8 years at his Oscar party. I've had a couple that wanted to get married in the Vatican by the Pope. I put them in all the glamorous parties, from the Paris Fashion Week to the Cannes Film Festival to Monaco Grand Prix with Ferrari. But what I'm really well known for is also taking it to a level above that and creating experiences and stories. So I've had people play drums with Guns N' Roses, sing on stage with Journey, play guitar with ZZ Top. I had a client that actually wanted to have, his request of me was, I want a great dining experience in Florence. So what I did was I took over the Accademia, the Galleria Museum that houses Michelangelo's David. I took it, the whole museum shut down at 3:00 in the afternoon for me.
That is huge.
And and then I had a table of 6 set up at the feet of Michelangelo's David, the most iconic statue in the planet. And then I didn't tell the clients this, but halfway through that pasta, I had Andrea Bocelli come in and serenade him. So that's the kind of things that I do. And now I coach entrepreneurs on how they can do it for themselves.
That is so awesome, because I think I've done a few things like this year before the COVID. I was graced to go and spend the weekend. I went to Beverly Hills. I went to a lot of the Oscar galas. I was in the Dolby Theater. I got to see the statues, the golden ones. I made sure I took a lot of pictures. The funny thing is that I rented or leased, or whatever you want to call it, a Bentley drop top, right? I said, oh, yes, I am going in style with my gown. And I usually roll by myself, solo, when I go to certain places and parties, right? So I get there to pick up the car, and I can't see my feet. So it wasn't a good idea. Right? That wasn't a good idea. I was like, this is so ridiculous. But somehow the people set something amazing up for me, and the guy came with the BMW with the butterfly doors, and I had the whole experience. And every time when I read your book, I was like, oh my goodness. And you got to be a great person of integrity, because you also keep a lot of people private. I think that is so cool too.
Well, I think a lot of people will try to use their Rolodex for gain. And the trouble is, the second you start doing that, because bear in mind, you've got to understand, at the maximum in 1 year, I had 93 clients on my roster. So I was never the type of guy that would have 5,000 clients or 10,000. I had 93. I knew every single one of their birthdays, and even better still, the last 4 digits of every single one of their credit cards. So, I had those kind of clients, but they were all billionaires. And the bottom line is, the second you start saying, oh, I did this for this person, and I did this for this person, unless it's public knowledge, then you're abusing the relationship. It's all over the place that I worked with Richard Branson and Elton John, because I was part of getting the appropriate clients to his Oscar party in Hollywood. So that's and there's loads of pictures with me and Sherontelle. So that's public knowledge. But there's so many other people that that I would never mention because I don't want to build off that credibility. And what that does is it gets other people going, okay, he's not going to use me to promote his business. I'd like to work with this guy. So at first, I just thought it was tacky. And then I realized how cool it was.
No, I had to start mentioning a few names because they told me to. They said that you need to go ahead and do that and step out because I was behind the scenes for so long. It's been like probably 10 years I've like worked behind the scenes. And then I said, okay, well, I'm supposed to get out there, but I didn't know how to get out there. I didn't know what I was supposed to do. I didn't know the first thing I was supposed to do. And I started sitting in the TV studios because you can go to the audience for free. You fill out the application, you go and you sit in the audience for free. And that's what I started to do. But I was networking with the assistants. And I want to know everybody that worked for the studio, basically, except the star. Right?
Yeah.
Because those are the ones that makes it happen. And one day they may own their own show. And now I can pitch it to them because we've developed a relationship. All those things go through my head. And then eventually I found myself on TV. You know what I mean? And then I created some relationships because certain people, they just have my back. And I throw their name around sometimes, but not for gain, because what's for me is going to be for me. If I wasn't supposed to be with them and work with them, then that would have never happened. That's how I look at it. You know what I mean? I don't connect with people just because of like their name. I connect with people because they genuinely want to take their business to the next level. They genuinely want to build a lifelong relationship. I don't get into these things where I want to just do a campaign and then we're done. Music is forever. If we want to talk about the celebrity publicist side of it, I feel like music is forever. Maybe it don't work in the first 2 years. You don't even know. You don't know how to, sometimes, PR is one of those things that you can't measure. You don't know when you set out. That's the same thing as an entrepreneur. You don't know. I have this idea. I want to do these conversations. I have 2 people that's listening. Do I keep going? Of course I do. Who cares about the audience? It's the message.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's the message that I'm trying to get to the people that you can do it too. Like change your mind and change your whole life. That's a real thing. It sounds like an infomercial, but it's a real thing.
I remember when I got approached to write the book. Before that, no.
Look at my book.
The book. Oh, the notes. Thank you.
Yes.
When I got approached to write the book, and I was in a party in New York, and someone had introduced me that was quite credible, and then I went out and had breakfast the following morning to try and sober up, and we were just chatting. There was nothing serious about it, and a week later they said, "We want you to write the book," and they said, they wanted me to call out names that I'd worked for. And I said, no, I'm not doing that. And so I thought, that's the end of it. And then a week later, they came back and they said, okay, write the book on how a bricklayer from London ends up doing this with Sir Elton John and Elon Musk. So, and I honestly thought, no one's going to believe it. No one's going to believe it. And even more importantly, no one's going to buy it. So they offered me a very nice, Simon Schuster, one of the largest publishing houses in America, offered me the contract. And they paid me a nice lump of cash, and we did the book. And when it came to the launch party, and you can see this on my website, you can see it on there.
Oh, I see your website.
I actually did a video. Actually, let me rephrase that. There are a couple of people that I brought along as guests did a video of my book launch because they said to me, you got to do a book launch. And I said, no one's going to buy my book. And they went, you've got to do a book. And I said, look, here's the scoop. And they gave me $2,500 to pay for the champagne if I did a book launch at like a Barnes and Noble. And all I did was I phoned up a local whiskey bar that I used to go to, and it's no longer there, sadly. But I said to them, here, I'm going to stick $2,500 behind the bar. I'm going to invite my mates over. When we've run out of money, kick us out. And that was it. So I said to New York, yeah, we've got a book launch party, and I had Jay Abraham and Greg Reed and Jim Quick and Lewis Howes and all these people that I know very well.
Lewis Howes, that's my friend. That's
there you go.
Friend
so
of mine. There you go.
I had all of these people come over, really, and he doesn't even drink.
My buddy.
And you know that he doesn't drink.
That's my buddy right there.
So I had a whole bunch of people that kind of came along to this party. And I had Sonia and Cole Hatter, who do a big event in Vegas called Thrive. And he said to me, he said, oh, do you mind if I just get a bit of footage? Because he wanted it for his B-roll. And I went, yeah, knock yourself out.
Whatever, go ahead.
Yeah. And he videoed it and gave it to me. And it's a video of basically a bunch of people getting drunk through the night and talking smack about my book. And I thought it was so funny. I stuck it on the front page of my website, which, if I may, is stevedsims.com.
Yo, please do.
I stuck it on there, and I had people saying, because we're all getting drunk, and they went, you can't put the video on there. It'll be no good. Everyone loved it, and the book took off, and you just don't know what's going to happen.
No, that's so true. You don't.
Not a clue.
That is so cool. I think I was laughing because we were talking about the Instagram Live, and I was like, have you ever met people that's so smart but yet so dumb sometimes? That was me today. Because I was like, which way is horizontal and vertical?
I think this is the second or maybe third one that I've ever done. So thank you for asking me.
So it was so funny when you were like, I gotta do a book party? Like, oh, okay, I guess.
Yeah. Who knows and who cares? Just go with it.
Just go with it. And then when you go with it, look what happens.
Oh, it's ridiculous. It got released just before COVID. So it's been translated into Mandarin. It's got translated into Mandarin, Chinese, Thai, Vietnamese, Korean. It's being translated at the moment into Russian, but it got released in March in Polish.
And
it's sold out in day one in Poland. So it's just ridiculous.
That is amazing. And it's such a good book. If we could like dive into a little bit of it since we're on this phone here and we have time. Yes. Awesome. Okay. So I want to say a quote out of it because I thought this was like really, really a cool quote. I love it. You don't drown from falling in water. You drown from staying there.
My dad. Yeah, I don't know what happened to my dad.
Yeah.
He's a big, thick Irish lad. And then one day he just said that to me and it just stuck with me. And the amount of times, again, as entrepreneurs, we fall in the water. We fall down. And
so many times.
More times than when we get up. But it's the falling down that teaches us how to get up. And I've just realized all the way along that just because I fall down doesn't mean I have to stay there.
And I was like, I like that one. Let me like put a tab there. That's it. What would you say to somebody who says they don't know what their purpose is?
Don't worry about it. Don't
worry.
Yeah, don't. I actually look at an ROE. A lot of people look at ROI, return on investment. I look at return on energy. What do I do that for me is easy, can solve your problem, and returns great energy? So I look for a return on energy. If you say, hey, can you do this? And if you contact me and you go, hey, can you help me with my financial accountant at the end of the year? I'm going to lose any hair that I've got left, okay? I'm not going to be able to do it. But if you say to me, hey, I'm looking at doing this, and I can go, yeah, great, and there's energy, that's what I'm looking for. So look at what you can do easily that solves someone else's problem. There's your purpose.
There's the purpose. That is so funny because when I reached out to my friends to do these conversations, I'm like, could you just come on and talk to me for like at least an hour? And what we're going to talk about? I don't know, like what you got going on? Life, music, the air. And I was like, who cares? I did, and I always put COVID on the pitch, but I'm thinking like I haven't even really much talked about it that much. I mean, I've been asking people like how they're doing during it, but everyone, even though despite, and that's the cool thing about entrepreneur mindset, I think is cool too. It's like, yeah, half of my family just passed away, but I'm creating over here and everything is all right. We're pushing through. We're pushing through, you know, like we're going to get through this. And I'm like, you're sure you're all right, you know? And it's like, do we ever take the time to make sure we good and we're okay? Or do we
good point. Good point.
You
Good
know what I
point. We
mean?
do. Yeah. Sometimes we keep going and we don't check out the view. I will be blunt, and I mean no
Check
disrespect,
out the view.
but I've really enjoyed, and I want to be really careful how I frame this, but I've really enjoyed COVID.
Yes.
For me, it's given me a chance that because I speak a lot and I travel a lot. And my wife that I've been with since she was 16 and I was 17 when we first met. And
Wow.
she reckons this is the first time when we hit April. She said that was the first time that we had gone a month where I hadn't flown somewhere in 9 years. Okay. So
Yes.
every month I was traveling somewhere. I would have piles of clothing, spare pants, toothpaste. There was always set up for my next travel. And I've been at home. I've been focusing on the garden, focusing on my relationships, focusing on the point, why. And you know what it's like.
I love it.
We have all of these subscriptions. We have all of these commitments. We have all of these obligations that now we're in COVID, we can look at and go, why do I have these? Who are they looking after? What's the purpose? What's the point? So I've really enjoyed the clean. Now I want it to be over because I want to go and have a beer with some of my mates. But I've really enjoyed the time to be able to use for me, for my family, for my growth, and spring clean my desk, my head, my fitness, everything. So I've enjoyed it.
I have too. It's been a good time for me as well. She said it helped me focus. Yep. COVID made me sit down and think. Yep. Absolutely. You look great. They must be talking about that shiny forehead of yours. They said you're looking great. That is so funny. Let's see. What else did I put? Oh, I think we talked about that. It's amazing how I put my little sticky notes here. I love also at the end of each chapter, you have these things called secrets. I think that is amazing. Can I share one of them?
Please do.
You can't concentrate on your friends when you're giving all your time to strangers. Speaking of the COVID, Don't let technology set the rules for your communication. If you hide behind emails and tweets, no one will ever hear you. I have an example. Yesterday, right? I get a email from a TV network that wants me to interview someone in their network. They have a movie coming out, right? So I immediately read the EPK for the film and I says, wow, this is an amazing film. So instead of me putting the actor's name and the dates and times that's available, I put the name of the film. I would be so excited and happy to have XYZ, come on, live with me. I immediately at the bottom seen the publicist's number and I called her back and said, hello, hi, this is Sherontelle. I just sent you an email. She says, oh my goodness, I haven't checked it yet. And I said, oh, no, take your time. I'm just calling to let you know that I really meant to say Mr. XYZ. And I am excited to have him, come on. And she's like, oh my God, I would have been thinking about that all day. And I said, oh, girl, I'm not carrying that all day. And that's what people do. Like they'll have one bad thing happening that morning and it'll set the tone for the entire day. And that's what people are doing in this COVID. Like they're taking something that they can't even control. It's an external event that's happening. We can't do nothing about it. It's already here. It's here, right? It's doing what it do. But what we can control is how we think about how we're going to start our day, what we're going to do, and how we're going to navigate and get through this day. What can we create? Who can we spend more time with? Make more love, make more of this, make more of that. All of those good things, right? We have a great choice to choose whether or not we want to live it positive or do we want to live it complaining. And then when we get out of this thing, because this is just this is a season. Everything has a season, right? It's not going to last forever.
Nope.
So enjoy it. I think that's great because I was upset a little bit. I said, oh my goodness. I was so excited because I booked my own event. I was doing this techie event in Estonia, right? I was like, this girl from Cleveland, Ohio is doing her own event, 300 business leaders coming from all over the world. I'm going to go speak at the Budapest. I mean, I had it all booked. And then everything just slowly, I was checking my emails and things were canceling every day when I was waking up because I just thought this was going to be 2 weeks. And now here we are, what? I don't know, 6 months now, maybe?
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while.
It's been a while. Oh, well. So I think I think this is a great secret. I think this book speaks on so many different things. Like it's nothing like that vibration. It's nothing like seeing that person and being able to have a conversation. It's nothing like exchanging, and collaborating like we are now, like having a conversation about entrepreneurship and mindset and all kinds of things. Just having that conversation. I don't know, like if I was to text that to you, if it would come across the same way. She left Cleveland, Ohio, and she was a single mom. You would read that and be like, what is she talking about? But then when we're having a conversation and I'm saying like, this is where I'm from, and it's like, you can get a better understanding. The vibe and energy is something that I think that we missed the ball on that a lot of times. That's a cool thing about, I watched something. I don't want to like promote it, but I watched something on TV recently, and it was talking about how the social media thing has like really taken over. I lived in a time where we had to wait until like after dinner, we checked the voicemail when we did get one eventually, and we would check the answer machine, not the voicemail, the answer machine, and you press that button and you rewind it. And you write down their number and you call them back with a string. I remember those days. So
my answer machine was a pad stuck on the wall and a pen dangling. So that was my stuff. And if you wanted to send a message to your mate, you walked out of your house down the street and you knocked on the door. So that was my period.
Oh my God! Were you in Tennessee recently?
Was that what?
Where were you? Were you
Nashville.
in Tennessee recently?
Yeah,
Nashville.
I run these events called speakeasies where we literally, it's weird and it's funny and it still makes me laugh. We've done 9 of them now. And what we do is we pick a city. Our next one is San Diego. And we have a speakeasy. And we charge people $2,000 and we tell them nothing. They don't know anything. And we sell it out every single time. But the last one we did was Nashville last week, and I have to admit, this weekend I was still recovering. So it was a good event. We had some really cool cats there. In fact, a friend of yours was on there that you interviewed before, Craig Handley.
Craig Handley, he's on here now, I think.
Oh, is he? Big old Craig.
He's
so Craig came along to Nashville. So. Yeah, they've been really good fun to do an event where no one knows anything. They don't know who's going to turn up, who's going to teach them, who's going to be in the room. It puts them on edge, but it gets the right kind of people in the room. So
that is so cool. That sounds so much fun. I know. I thought I seen some clips, and he probably had posted one, and I was like, "Oh my goodness! Wow, Nashville! That is so cool!" And it was such a cool setting. It looked like it was a perfect spot for some whiskey. It looked like.
We always try. We never do them in an office or a hotel boardroom or anything boring because we don't want to be boring. So we've done them in. Dungeons, penthouses, rooftops, townhouses. We've done them in all weird kind of environments. And the one in Nashville was in Germantown, which is a real up and coming area. But on one side of the street, you don't want to walk at night, and on the other side of the street, you can't afford to live. It's just weird, and it's literally just divided by the street.
That is so weird. Yeah, he said he talked to one of your guests for about an hour and a half today. Wow.
Oh, wow. Okay.
See, conversation. Before COVID, we wasn't able to talk that long. Like, I don't know if I probably wouldn't have did the Instagram thing because I never would go. I hardly ever went live on Instagram. And now I'm like, I think I'm 25, 26 conversations. Somebody will tell me. A lot of the people that are on literally have been on every single week that I go live. And I just want to say thank you guys. I really appreciate it. Yay. I appreciate you being here. Yes. Are they tomorrow? Emily earlier today. Yeah, wow. That he had a good time at your event. That sounds amazing because I looked at some of the pictures and the video clips and I said, wow, that looks like a cool setting. That's about 27.
It was a good event. Yeah,
See,
we had a
27.
good time. Well done. Well done.
Yeah, she said 27. 27 conversations. That is so great. Stop counting your losses. People do that all the time. There are no failures, right? Are there failures or just lessons? I just look at them as lessons.
A failure becomes a failure when you stop trying. So when the failure wins is when you don't progress. But when you've fallen down, cut yourself, lost money, got sued, when you've done all of those things and then you've taken those lessons to go forward, it's not a failure, it's an education. It becomes a failure when you go, that's it, I'm stopping. That's when it's a failure.
That's when it's a failure. 10K Cards is my sponsor, so I have to shout out my sponsor for a second there. I have a digital business card for you that I did not send to your inbox yet. But what it does is it has all of your social media sites and website and everything in one place. So like say now we have the social distancing, right? And you just open your phone and you know how we have the QR codes?
Yep.
Well, you'll have your own QR code and you can just, if someone needs your information, they can just scan your phone and then it goes right to their phone. It's really cool because it's on my face. It looks like I have my own app. I'm right under, I think I'm right under Netflix on my phone. So that's a gift from me and my sponsor. I'll give it to you as soon as we get off. I wanted to explain it first because as soon as you said, do I do horizontal or vertical? I was like, I'm not going to send him this digital business card right now because he's going to be like, what the heck is this, Sherontelle? What is this? I was like, I'm not going to send that to him. When did you... I was watching a movie the other day. I watch movies for inspiration. And it helps me write too. And I was watching a movie and literally the entire movie, it was just him against him. When did you realize at one point, or did you always know that you were okay with who you were? Because I just think it's a dope thing. Like if someone just looked at you, right? They'll be like, oh, this biker guy, you know, and they wouldn't think that you've been at the Pentagon or spoken at Harvard or all of these amazing things that you've done just by, let's just say, societal stuff where they just look at you. When did you know? Because I always tell kids, it's okay to be different, be who you are, but to see that transform, or did you always know?
So there's a couple of answers, and it came in stages. The first part of my business career, I was too stupid and ignorant to care. So I was so hell-bent on finding rich clients, being able to look after rich clients, being able to get... I didn't care about how I looked. So I would always turn up on a motorbike, black T-shirt, go, hey, how can I help you? And my force, my energy was on creating impact for you. And then I got a contract 7 years in. I got a contract to look after Ferrari for Formula One in Monaco on 1997, which was the 50th anniversary of Ferrari. And literally the event was in June. Easter, I started to panic. I thought to myself, hang on a minute, I'm going to be in Monaco with the richest people in the planet, and I look like this. And I went through all of this doubt, and I bought suits, and I bought expensive watches. I bought a car. And I went along to this event to try and impress people. You can't impress a billionaire. You can't impress a guy that owns a country. And so I'm in there looking like an idiot, and halfway through the night, I was like, this isn't working. So when I went back, I realized that little monkey, that little doubt had come in, and I got rid of it. And then I thought to myself, if you don't like this, that's fine. I'm not offended. There's people out there, maybe one or two. You've got a lot of people watching this. So there's maybe 2 people out there that maybe think I'm ugly. And that's fine. I know the rest of you think I'm gorgeous. Thank you. But bottom line of it is, I don't care. You know, it really doesn't bother me. I'm happily married. Neither of us are looking for relationships. What does it matter what I'm looking for? So, or looking like? So I stopped. I didn't care at the beginning out of ignorance. Then I cared too much and I went the wrong way. And then I cared enough not to ever be anyone that I wasn't. And Craig Handley's known me for absolutely years. And he'll tell you,
Craig.
He's never seen me without a black T-shirt and jeans and Vans, you know, got some nice King Baby jewelry on, and that's it. And it's never been the change. In fact, I think it would surprise Craig if I suddenly turned up looking different, you know, a shirt tucked into a pair of trousers. I like to dress up for my wife, but Craig would find it a little bit strange.
That is so funny because that's why I wear a black t-shirt today. I was like, but I'm going to put a little bit of white lettering on it. But I was wearing a black t-shirt because I looked at a lot of your interviews and I was like, this guy, he loves black t-shirts. My goodness, he loves black t-shirts. He loves his wife, children, and his bicycles. How many motorcycles do you have?
19.
19. You are really, that is wild. Hello, everybody. Hello. So what is it that you have now? Like, where can people like find some of the things, you know?
So I've got lots of, I'm very easy. You know, if you want something cheap, i.e. free, and I like that, I've got the Art of Making Things Happen podcast, but I've also got a Facebook page called An Entrepreneur's Advantage with Steve Sims. And that's free of charge and anyone can join. And I do a lot of conversations in there. And we have something that we're just launching on the 1st of October called the Breakfast Club. So that every month we're going to introduce a random 4 people of the people that have subscribed to the Facebook page. Yeah. And we're going to ask them, what do you do? What do you, and just have like my version of The View, where we're just going to sit there with a croissant and a cup of coffee and introduce our members to our team. So
that sounds so cool.
You can also jump over to stevedsims.com. There's only one M in Sims. And if anyone wants to buy the book, you can read all about it on there.
Awesome. I think I'm going to buy a few books and give it away. Why not?
Throw a competition at them. Make them do something to make them worthy.
There you go. All right. So follow all of my previous guests. Go back. I was trying to see if I can. I'm so bad with typing these things. I wanted to put your email address here at the bottom. Or you might type faster than me.
I'm just going to do it for you.
Nope. I think I got it.
Did you beat me?
I think so. And I can pin it on my side. Did I do it? Oh, yeah.
There you go. You did. There you go. You beat me.
Oh, my gosh. This is so cool. I think one more thing in the book. What was it? I think this is a good way to end it. Clear your head enough to hear it.
We focus too much on stuff that's really not important. And we listen way too much to other people that we shouldn't.
But we love them.
Oh, is that good? If we're loving people that are not helping us, then do they become a liability or an asset?
I would think that they would come a liability, but I gotta speak from the other side. I gotta show both sides. You show the right side and I show the other side. You know how they have on the movie where they have the devil and the angel, and you have a choice. Well, what do you want to do?
It's a tough one. I've got lots of friends that being rude couldn't afford me. And I know I got friends that whenever I go and see them, I know for a fact that I'm buying all the drinks because there's no way in the world I'm going to go to the bars that they can afford. But it doesn't matter because they still encourage me. I love them. They tell me jokes. They're in me. They can help me, and they're an asset in my world. The financial aspect is irrelevant. So I always look at people and I go, okay, are you a liability or are you an asset? And finance has got nothing to do with it.
Nothing at all.
Nothing.
That's the same thing with the business relationship. I don't go into no business relationship we don't even talk about that first anyway. Like you got to get to know what it is, who they are and what it is that they need and what you can supply for them. I don't even think you think about the money until all the way yay in. A couple years ago, go ahead.
I did a video called the Chug Test. And if you sign up on Steve D. Sims for the newsletter, and you can delete it afterwards, I don't care, but a little video is going to come up. It's called the Chug Test, and it actually tells you how I decide who I'm going to work with, who I'm going to have as a client, who I'm going to have as a friend. And it's a very, very simple process of basically realigning who you connect with. And it's just called the Chug Test.
Oh, my goodness. I'm going to go on there. I thought that I'd seen everything, but you got so much stuff. Like I went on your site and I was like, oh, look at the picture. Was that Richard Branson in the picture? That was Richard Branson in the picture. I was like, oh my goodness, this is so great. And then I started reading your book and I was like, I got to get my life together. I thought I had it. And then I dream one dream, and then I'm like, that wasn't big enough. I got to do something else. And then you start to read and see the things that you did. I thought that river tubing, I tell this story all the time. Me and my son went river tubing, and I thought that was the craziest thing. I mean, I went whitewater rafting, right? But when I read the book and some of the things that people have done, you have helped them experience. I'm like, was it the Vatican? Did you say that earlier?
We had a couple that wanted to get married in the Vatican by the Pope.
Like, how does that even happen? That's like, river tubing is absolutely nothing. That's peanuts. That is peanuts. Like, that's absolutely an amazing adventure, because if you ever been river tubing, they have these things called rapid in the water, rapids. And I like to call them mini tornadoes because they take you under. I mean, like, really, I mean, they really take you in, right?
Let's not joke. It's scary. I've done it. I've done that. And that little whitewater rapids and the little tornadoes, that's scary. They don't look very big, but when they knock you over and you get in them and you start doing that, that shit can scare you.
It can really scare you. But when I think about like some of the things that you've done and arranged for people, I don't know, that beats me being a music publicist. It really does. I need to step it up. I need to do a little bit more. I think I need to like grab on to some amazing music artists and like take them all over the world. That's how I feel now at this point. That's the level that I think I need to take it on after reading this book.
Good.
I really recommend that everybody get this book, Bluefishing. It was the funniest thing because that's the name of the company.
Yeah, it was a password to get into some of our parties. And so people used to say that, because we used to say to them, repeat this sentence. Finish this sentence. One fish, two fish, red fish. So people would turn up and go, bluefish. And that's how it started. And then people took it, instead of a statement and as a fable, as a rhyme, they started using it as an adjective. And they were like, oh, I bluefished the hell out of this. Or I was going on holiday and I became a major bluefisher. And you said it earlier.
That is amazing.
That's why me and you are similar. You put something out there. Once you've put it out there, you have no control over what it builds into. And so it just like your live streams now. When we started doing what we were doing, I just wanted to talk to rich people. And now I'm coaching and speaking, and there's a book, and you never know what's going to happen.
No, you never know. I mean, I worked as an EMT for 15 years. And then I got into music entertainment, and I was working with a music producer. And then I found myself starting to I wanted to do motivational speaking. I got tired of sending out submissions and like asking people to be a part of their events. Nothing wrong with that, but I just felt that I have built enough up at this point in my career that I should be getting paid to speak. Not so much as doing, unless it's my friends and I want to assist. Let's just say I will do that for friends. But I mean, on a professional level, I decided to just start doing workshops myself and start, sometimes when there's not opportunities that you can't see, you could just create it and not even worry about how am I going to get this paid? How is this going to happen? If people are going to show up? I think you just got to take that first step. That's one of the biggest lessons that I've learned being an entrepreneur for over 10 years for myself is that it is just literally just taking that step and not even worrying about what's going to happen, who's going to be there, who's not going to be there, all of that stuff that people put in their head. Like, throw that out of the window right now and just get up out of the seat and just do it. Just like, you know, just like the Nike says, right? That's just amazing. So we are at the, oh my God, an hour went by already.
Wow.
I know, that's crazy, right? So we're at the end. I always ask the guests, and shout out to my sponsor again, 10K Cards. I really appreciate you. We have a genuine relationship. He gives a gift to every single guest. But at the end, I always like to ask the guests if they could give a word of some word of encouragement, I guess, to keep us going, or just one word. Like my word today was, well, I had two words actually: focus and perseverance. However you pronounce that.
Wow.
That word. Those were my two words.
You want me to give you one word?
One word or one sentence?
Ooh. All right.
For 200, Alex.
All right. Okay. So then I'm going to repeat something that we've already gone through.
Go ahead.
It's the most valuable thing that I think I could leave you with. Okay. And we've already spoken about failure, so I'm going to repeat my father. You don't drown by falling in the water. You drown by staying there. And we should focus on that.
And that is that, everybody. We have been graced to talk to Steve Sims, the real live Wizard of Oz. Pick up his book, Blue Fishing. I'm telling you, you will not be, you won't. You'll be like, wow, it will change your whole life. I appreciate you so much for giving me your time and your knowledge and your wisdom. Love, light, and energy to you and your family. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.